A career in IT. In the not so long ago, I left a very comfortable job, that while comfortable, was at a dead end. I was a desktop guy, and I was never going to get off the desktop team, and off of on-call. Ever. On-call was 3 weeks on, 7 weeks off. I was some kind of hybrid desktop/junior sysadmin type guy. I was specing out enterprise hardware and then building images for them, laptops, desktops, all in one machines, with 13 diff total images, plus automating out bulk password resets, account type maintenance AD stuff/W PowerShell. So in the age before the Great Resignation, before the vid, I dolled up my resume and I went looking for greener pastures, and I found it. First sysadmin title bump, pay bump, no on-call. Happily ever after, or so I had thought. In hindsight, my entire interview process was one giant series of red flag. After I applied online, they emailed me and wanted me to interview the next day. I actually called in sick to work to go that interview. After I interviewed at 11, they called me back by 1 with an offer, paperwork by 4. Signed, sealed, delivered. They told me that they were rushed this because the CIO and infrastructure manager were both going on vacation in 7 weeks and they needed me to backfill both positions. They wanted me to give 1 week's notice, but because of the on-call situation at my previous gig, I wasn't going to go out like that. I gave 3 weeks notice, and enjoyed saying goodbye to a great gig, but onward to greener pastures. Even though it's spring, the greener pastures are not green. I had 3 weeks to crash course the infrastructure environment to backfill the infrastructure manager before he went on vacation to a place where he would not be available to even answer text messages if I had an emergency to reach him. So, Citrix, backups, AV, cloud, Exchange, patching, the general environment, the whole shebang. And I did it. Then the CIO takes off the week after and I have to become the telecom/network guy. I am not a telecom/network guy, so I have to crash course that in the next week, and I do that also. Nothing broke and I didn't have an epic chance for glory or failure, but I was stuffed daily without a safety net and I wasn't messing anything up. Both the CIO and the infrastructure come back and begin the most toxic, most browbeating, micromanaging environment to come into play. I've been there 1 month, and I need to make another 2 months before I pass probation. Am Canadian, 2.5 months for A, and I have some type of employee protection in place. IT up to this point had always been a fairly collaborative place for me, where ideas get thrashed out on their merits and the strongest/most practical/securest is adopted. So, I need to get a Windows 10 rollout off the ground, but they've purchased 500 Dell Micro Spec/W 4 gigs of RAM, i5s, and have been modified to have a VGA port added at the factory. Like, why have we decided to do this? OS, Sophos, Outlook and Chrome will eat greater than 4 gigs, like these machines should be usable. Well, I'm told I don't know anything about hardware. Even though these guys hired me on, among things I've done, running a capital refresh project where I upgraded almost $1 million worth of equipment that I spec'd off of business uses BTW. The CIO and the infrastructure manager are some of the technically weak, sensitive about it, techs I've ever come across. After that encounter, I stopped volunteering my opinions, but it gets so much worse. I turned down their company iPhone 6 for my Pixel 2, because my Pixel is better. I'm not on call, I don't need a phone, I can check my emails on my phone, this shouldn't be a deal at all, I don't need a company phone. Well, that escalated to I have to take this company phone, and because the Pixel is not something that the company offers, should a user see my Pixel, they will request one. Therefore, that iPhone was to become my primary device, that I had to transfer my SIM card into, without any kind of financial compensation. Even though I am not in a customer-facing role, and I am again, not on call. Then, even though again, not on call, I am to be available after hours should some sort of need arise. Again without any kind of compensation, which is illegal. But, if I push back, they're just going to fire me, because I'm inside the probationary period, and have no rights. So they send me a text after hours that I ignore because I'm out living my life. That I get chewed out about, because I'm not reliable. However, when a core switch fails and I have to map the existing data connections physically from the core switch to the non-virtual servers, remove/replace the switch and restore the backup to it. I can do that. I'm reliable for that. If I have a question about anything, I am not to take notes. However, once I am given the answer, I should somehow be required to retain all of this info. And I shouldn't ask again for confirmation/clarification or ask that they just double check my work, because they've already told me. But, may the God of IT help me if I make a mistake/oversight such as a capitalization error on a SMTP email address. That's a browbeating. I commit the unforgivable sin of composing internal email communications with a hey instead oh hi or hello, and this is so embarrassing to my CIO, that going forward all of my email correspondence is now to be reviewed/approved. I am told that should I ever get a phone call I am to answer the phone going forward, my desk phone BTW, that I don't get phone calls on, with my non-user facing role, with good morning/afternoon, Island Lucky speaking, how may I help you? I get a different after-hour email another time from the infrastructure manager, this time, while I'm out living my life, again not on call. And again I don't respond to it. Well, I get hauled into a meeting with the CIO and infrastructure manager, where again, not two takes notes, they tell me that I'm not dependable and that they don't think you have a career in IT, which is the most toxic thing anyone has said to me to date. I have Microsoft certifications and 10 years of experience in this field. I've worked my way up from L1 helpdesk. That afternoon they changed my title/role to L2 helpdesk, and they have want me to work with a DBA now about SQL database upgrades/migrations, again, not a DBA guys, and also, if I'm not dependable, don't make me run around database stuff. And for the record, the infrastructure manager is terrible. He scheduled a reboot once in the middle of the night that interrupted a .NET framework patch that had to be removed/re-added to use a critical piece of billing software that had to be updated on each machine. But, let's look at Island Lucy's emails to see if I use the proper salutation. Oops, messed up the Exchange server, nobody's getting any emails for a morning. It's the summer now, I've reached out to recruiters to get me the hell out of this place, and I'm responding to any jobs that I'm most of the way qualified for, just trying to get away from this place. But the IT gods are making me suffer and the stars haven't aligned. The day before my probationary period expires, 15 days before I qualify for employment insurance, they let me go. They replace me with 2 helpdesk positions to roll out the Win 10 image I've made on the MDT server I've set up. A couple months later, one night I start getting SMS alerts sent to my SIM card, back home in the Pixel 2 where it belongs. The SMS alerts are from a server closet at that gig. But, I shouldn't be getting these alerts, as I am first of all, no longer at that company, and second of all, I never was on call. Been a couple years since then. When that summer ended, I got a different sysadmin gig. I've been flipping from gig to gig looking for my forever job. I'm up 20k from that nightmare job, same title, better benefits. If you aren't happy at your current gigs, my dudes, you should dust off the old resume and see what's out there. This morning, I've had some time on my hands, it's quiet at the office. Didn't get to take any time off around the holidays, and I looked that company's LinkedIn up, to see who's still there. And lo and behold. Besides the fact that I still hate those idiots and I'm still salty about, they're both not there anymore. The infrastructure manager got retired early and the CIO himself got fired 18 months ago. And hasn't found another gig yet. Looks like I wasn't the only one that didn't have a career in IT.